Hello everybody, welcome back to It's Current Year, and it's time for a bit of a fan submission from Blitzen, aka Slayer3, aka Liam, who comes along to the streams and has supported the channel for a while, up against Jay Phoenix, another subscriber of mine, and a well-known member of the Total War community. So we'll go through the forces first. Jay's High Elves. We've got some Spearmen on the flanks here, as well as some Silverin Guard, a couple of units of White Lions for some AP punch in the front line. We've got a couple of units of Silver Helms. Silver Helms in their price range are a pretty decent cavalry unit. Obviously lack AP, but with a great charge bonus and pretty decent stats, while Martial Prowess is active. Really can punch above their weight, so nice pick there. Like them in this matchup, despite the AP and anti-large cav that the Dark Elves can take. The Fireborn, beautiful unit model. I love the Fireborn. Again, beastly stats, bit of anti-large of their own. Everqueen's Court Guards, cool pick. Very powerful range unit, so pretty nice little fire base here. Not obviously gone too wide with the skirmishes. Leading the force, a Lawmaster of Hoeth, obviously a very good duelist in his own right. Spirit Leech, Lawmaster's Cloak, looks like it's been taken for the magic resistance. Good obviously for the blob fight to counteract a bit of the damage from Soul Stealer, as well as Spirit Leech and Earth Blood for some good versatility there. And leading the force, riding in and amongst the White Lions at the moment, is Prince Imric. Not a terribly commonly picked High Elf Lord, but not a bad Lord on horse. Not super expensive. Some good items with the Dragon Horn and Lord of Dragons for his combat buffs. So we'll have a look at the Dark Elf forces now before the lines meet. Couple of units of Bleak Swords, couple of units of Black Ark Corsairs, the Blades of the Blood Queen, who are going to be real can openers in this fight. Great, they'll absolutely murder White Lions 1-to-1. We've got the Slanesh's Harvesters, obviously with their Soul Stealer and Word of Pain, and then we've got 2 units of Cold One Knights. Out here on the flank, a couple of units of Scourge Runners. Looks like one's about to be Spirit Leech by the Lawmaster, but great AP missiles and a bit of anti-large and good combat cycle charging potential as a AP chariot in the later game or when the opportunity arises. Leading the force, we have an Assassin who looks like he has taken the Web of Shadows and the Assassin's Trophy for some extra combat debuffs. A Sorceress with of Shadow with just the Pendulum, and leading the force. Oh, he knows the way to my heart. Crone Hellebron with Gaze of Cain, Witch Brew, Heroic Killing Blow, and her Cursed Blade. So bit of a blender lord, but not particularly tough in her own right. Can be a bit finicky to use. So we'll see how the fight gets underway. Looks like that Spirit Leech has actually done a good amount of damage. Doesn't take any models down, but getting any damage into them in the early game is helpful. Everqueen's Court Guard have rotated their fire now onto the Blades of the Blood Queen. Good target priority there. They are a pretty high value target. Looks like a Pendulum might be coming down on the Court Guard now, and Jay very nicely dodged there. They do take a little bit of damage, but for the most part do avoid any catastrophic damage. Only 1 unit model lost there, and the frontline fighting is about to get underway. These Silver Helms are probably a little bit late to get pulled back, as we see an Earthblood coming down here. I think the Gaze of there we go. Gaze of Cain is coming down. We'll chuck on another slow play just to have a look at the stats here of the Cold One Knights. Pretty nasty. 53 melee attack, 53 weapon strength with an anti-large bonus. Likewise, the Slanesh's Harvesters are getting pretty juiced. Corsairs, Bleak Swords, it just turns everything into an absolute lawnmower, this ability. It really is, in a really pitched engagement like this, a real force multiplier. Soul Stealer also coming down by the looks of things from the Slanesh's Harvesters, and the cavalry fight is going pretty quickly in the favor of the Dark Elves, as you'd expect with 3 units under the effect of Gaze of Cain. The Fireborn have been absolutely blitzed in this early part of the game. Dragonhorn is down, so their combat stats are pretty nicely buffed at the moment, but they've taken a lot of damage, and there is a fair bit of anti-large and a lot of armor piercing in this force, so they're probably needing to pull back here and use their charge bonus and cycle charge. Court Guards are pretty safe, but looks like the Scourge Runner Chariots, one has been blocked by the charge of the Silver Helms, but the other one has gotten through, and yet Fireborn coming back in, but great use of the Word of Pain. So really nice use of the passive abilities on, or not the passive abilities, but the passive non-Winds of Magic spells on the Slaanesha's Harvesters. And that's going to mean these Cold One Knights will really actually... They're probably dead, actually, those Fireborn now. They're just not going to be able to put any damage back in. And even though over here the Court Guard are firing in, the Scourge Runners are being pushed off, these White Lions and Spearmen are pretty healthy. It just looks like one of the real power bases of the High Elves is about to go down. And I think Web of Shadows actually might have gone down on them as well from the Assassins. So not allowing them to escape, debuffing their speed. White Lions coming in here to relieve now with the fire from the Everqueen's Court Guards. They'll actually deal with Cold One Knights really well. Cold One Knights have pretty poor melee defense, and with the AP of the White Lions and just generally good stats, that will be a fight that will go in their favor. But the Blades of the Blood Queen are another thing entirely. So we see another pendulum going down here. We'll see if this one can catch a few more models, but no, once again, Jay's Micro, very impressive. They're still at 52 models, have a good amount of AP left. Looks like the Scourge Runners are just taking pot shots in at them now, which is probably actually the best use of their ammo at this point, given that the cavalry is sort of occupied elsewhere. But the White Lions here on their last legs. These Spearmen aren't going to last too long against... I suppose those are just Bleak Swords, but they are a fair bit healthier. And now the sort of Death Ball, the characters, the Corsairs, and the Blades of the Blood Queen are going to get a rear charge here and force them off. Some Cold One Knights charging in here and are rampaged on Imric. Maybe able to chip some damage away, but the Scourge Runners once again have come back in to the fight. Lord of Dragons is debuffing them, but the Everqueen's Court Guard go down, and that's actually... I think that's army losses. Wow. Yeah, I think the Cold One Knights probably stayed in the fight a little bit longer here against Imric due to the rampage, and then obviously just a really nasty little death blob forming over here. I think a Gaze of Cain was about to actually go down with just tattered High Elven infantry to return. So, I mean, other than this unit of Spearmen here, which aren't going to last very long against Corsairs and Executioners, it really looks like there's almost nothing left of any real merit for the High Elves. So that's a pretty quick win for the Crone and for Blitzen here, aka Slayer 3, aka Liam. But yeah, Crone's only got a thousand hit points. They made pretty quick work of that Lawmaster. I don't know if I actually highlighted it in the replay there, but the characters actually all just jumped on him, and you can see despite the fact that, well, let's have a look at the value. 1,600. Actually, Jay dodged the pendulums very well, so not surprised that the sorceress hasn't got a ton of value. 300 there. But you can sort of argue all day that that's not big value, but nothing's really laid a glove on them. And these are three characters which are pretty squishy. You know, Canine Assassins don't have the best melee defense, neither does Crone, but neither wear any armor. And then obviously you've got a sorceress here, and these guys were all involved in that sort of big pit fight here when Gaze of Cain went down. So, you know, they're still kicking along really healthy. The infantry's taken the majority of the blows, but again, done most of the killing. You know, some okay value there on all the infantry. The Cold One Knights, I'm guessing, yeah, the Cold One Knights have got some really nice value. So both definitely paid for themselves. Slaanesha's Harvesters with their Soul Steal and obviously their Word of Pain meant the Fireborn were just fighting at, you know, very, very diminished capacity, and the Scourge Runners, yeah, wow, 1,300, 15 and a half there. So, and again, no damage. No, but hardly any damage taken. I know the Spirit Leech did go down early, so maybe that's a bit of an error. I know one of those units did take a little bit of damage, but just some really good use of the abilities there. You know, stacking. Obviously, getting a really big blob fight against some pretty crucial, some value sort of targets, and making the most of that AOE effect. Likewise, with the Slaanesha's Harvesters, just meant the cavalry fight didn't. You know, these Silver Helms have done their bit, but that's very low for the Fireborn. Almost no value there. Everqueen's Court Guard have earned their check, but I think most of that is due to Jay's good micro to keep them out of harm's way with the pendulums. Silver and Guard likewise have probably actually done more than I thought they would have. But yeah, the White Lions really outside of this unit, just found themselves overmatched by the juiced up stats of the Druki frontline here, and certainly can't go toe to toe with the Blades of the Blood Queen, or even just regular executioners actually. So yeah, that Lawmaster wasn't long for the world when the character set on him, and Imric really didn't have a good target in this fight. Didn't really want to get stuck in that big death blob and have to duel several single entities, and didn't really have something he could isolate and use Lord of Dragons on to sort of debuff massively. So it says Pyrrhic Victory, but that's a pretty good use of the Crone Bomb. And as I mentioned, Blitzen definitely is an Its Current Year fan, because he knows how much I love the Crone. Definitely my favorite legendary lord to play with as a Dark Elf main. Not necessarily my favorite character from the lore or the Warhammer universe, but definitely my favorite in Total War, despite what people say about her being no good. So thank you as always for sending that in to Blitzen, aka Slayer3, aka Liam, and also to Jay, who is also a supporter of the channel, as I mentioned, and a very, very good player. So as always, love casting other games. If anyone else has any that they want to send my way, more than happy to take a look and get them up on the channel. So thanks to these two for their ongoing support. Thanks to all you guys for checking in and watching the replay. And until next time, take care.